Hey everyone. I want to do a little bit of what I like to call an overview, if you will. Sort of an overview, a review, if you will. Not trying to give much away about it. But I want to talk about, as you can probably see up there on the title, I want to talk about Batman Year One. As many of you probably know, Batman Year One was released this past Tuesday on iTunes and the Xbox Live and PSN networks. Now, it's not scheduled for DVD, Blu-ray, or digital copy release until this Tuesday, which it would be the 18th. However, that's kind of taken care of now. You see, one of the advantages people have sometimes when they work at certain video stores or online video companies, whatever you want to call them, is they always seem to get an advanced copy of the movie before it's released. Now, they're not the only ones. According to Zaran Nizarak of the Multimedia Chronicles, he has said, for an example, that sometimes people that order their stuff from Amazon, from places like Amazon.com, basically online, that they're bound to get it probably a week or so before its official release. You see, he gave this example. You see, he ordered from a place called Thinking DVD the second volume of the Cop series. You know, the animated Cop series from the late 80s, very early 90s. And he ended up ordering it from Thinking DVD. However, he didn't get it until almost, I think, the day it was released or a little afterwards, from what I understand. While others that that ordered it from places like Amazon got theirs right that, about a week or so before. So anyway, that's why I am able to talk about Batman Year One. No, I didn't order it. No, I didn't order it or get it from Amazon.com, nor do I work at a video store or online video company. No, you see, as many of you may know, and many of you probably do this, I went online to a place called MegaUploadForum.net. Now, at MegaUploadForum.net, I was able to download a DVD ripped copy of it. In other words, what people do at a site like that is they rip movies or television shows or whatever, either from DVD or even VHS, and they put them on there for people to download through Mega Upload. Now, I downloaded the movie, and it clocks in, its runtime clocks it in at about 64 minutes, so 4 minutes over an hour. And I have to say that it was actually pretty good. Yeah, it was more targeted towards the older audience, in other words, late teens to adults, or very late mid-teens to late teens to adults, if you know what I mean. And you could tell that not just by the animation, but by the tone in the film. It was just, you could just tell for the almost like the adult demographic. I mean, yeah, kids could probably sit down and watch it if they're into Batman, but there might be, there are some situations in there, some themes in there that, young kids of Batman probably really wouldn't understand nowadays. Maybe they would, I don't know. But anyway, I watched it, and I'll be honest with you. I've never read the graphic novel or the comic book itself, the issues that Frank Miller did. I never read those. But I can say this, if I had, And just by looking at the end credits, because they did show some of the scans, some of the panels and all that from the comic, I have to say that as far as adapting stories out of the comic books, this is one of those rare cases where they actually did it almost panel by panel, page by page, almost word for word, if you will. It was that good. It was that well done. And again, I say this, that it's not the kind of Batman animated movie that you want younger kids to watch. Most definitely not. It'd be the kind that if Cartoon Network felt like it, they would put on during Adult Swim. That's how, like I said, that's how dark and gritty and, you know, overall, you know, complicated at times this movie is. Now, they did show Catwoman in there. They did show Selina Kyle. And basically, in this version, she has a young girl living with her named Holly. Now, this Holly character is, believe it or not, if you look at her, she's kind of got the age range of maybe 12 to 14 years old, and she's being trained to be a prostitute at first, believe it or not. And that shows you how dark theme and how mature this one is above anything else. So anyway, it shows how Catwoman came to be. Basically, in this version, Selina, I guess, sells off certain items of hers and Holly's or whatever she has to buy herself a cat costume, so she can go out and basically try to get them a better life by going on to bigger and better things than having them live in this, kind of like dump part of the city, or basically this down and out, pothole of Gotham. So anyway, that's what's going on. So anyway, that's what happens there. And the story overall, like I said, is very well done. As far as comic book adaptations go, it's very well done. It kind of gives you an idea from one perspective, I guess Frank Miller's perspective, of how Batman came to be. Basically, in this version, he's sitting on a chair, basically bleeding after being shot. Bruce Wayne is, and he's asking this bust of his father, this statuesque bust of his father, what to do. Give him a sign of how to strike fear into the eyes of the criminal underworld. And then this bat suddenly flies through the window and lands on the bust. So anyway, that to Bruce Wayne, that's kind of his father to Bruce Wayne, that's kind of his father's way of telling him, this is the direction you go. This is what you use. So that was pretty good. It shows that one of his first encounters with the criminal underworld doesn't really go too well. But it shows him improving. It shows him cornering certain corrupt cops and everything and telling them, look, your days of doing this and that are over. So, just gives them a warning. He puts fear into a lot of them, takes them out in certain ways. And then Selina, as Catwoman, gets involved. Excuse me for a second. Sorry about that. But anyway, Selina then gets involved later on after she buys and dons the cat costume. And it kind of gets a little comedic after that for a while with her. A little comedic, a little humorous. Basically what happens is Selina at first doesn't get credit for some of the things she does. Instead they're giving credit to Batman. And then when almost like she looks like she's about to encounter Batman, instead of listing her in the activity as an individual, the reports instead call her Batman's assistant, which is like, she goes like, assistant? Now I'm his assistant? So it's kind of funny and humorous at times when it gets to those points, but overall it's actually pretty good. Like I said, it goes to places you never thought animation would go. It really is, like I said, it's really not for young kids or anything. It's more for the adult demographic, if you will. It doesn't go into detail like the comics may have done, but it does touch on and show a little bit of the affair that James Gordon is having with the Sarah Essen character. So it does touch upon that a little bit. I mean, it doesn't fully go into detail or anything like I think the comics does. And overall, it's a darker, like I said, if you've seen some of the Batman animated films DC has brought out, either the crossovers with Superman or individual, this is definitely one of the more darker ones you can see. So my thoughts are my overall thoughts are that it was good, and I highly recommend you guys watching it when you get a chance if you've not already, because if there's any animated Batman film, past or present or future, that you have yet to see, that you have to see, it's this one, because it's really that good. And as far as comic book adaptations go, like I said, I never read the graphic novel or the comic book itself or the issues based on it itself, but it definitely seems to follow step by step, panel by panel, and word for word exactly what the comic book had in it. It follows it almost to a T. So again, I definitely suggest checking it out when you can, if you can. Doesn't matter if it's through iTunes, downloads, Xbox, PSN, or waiting for the DVD. Check it out. It's worth the watch. You will not be disappointed. And that's all I'm going to say on it, and I'll talk to y'all later.